The War Council chamber of the Carthage Dominion glittered, with the light of 7 suns, each projected as a burning sphere above the central dais. Around it stood the High Marshal's generals, armored in obsidian plates, tusked jaws lifted in triumph at a victory not yet won. A censor officer stepped forward, his voice measured. "Marshal, our scouts confirm the human fleet's movement. They have deployed only 1 vessel into the expanse." The room erupted in guttural laughter. Generals slapped claws against the stone floor, shaking their crests in disbelief. 1 ship. Against the Dominion armada of 400, it was beyond insult, it was comedy. High Marshal Carthune did not laugh. His slit-pupiled eyes narrowed, tusks catching the chamber's glow as he leaned forward. "Describe it." The officer hesitated. "Sleek black hold, smaller than our dreadnoughts, larger than a frigate. No escorts. Its heat signature is unusual. Our readings fluctuate as though its drive is partially masked." "Malfunctioning junk," a general barked. "Send a cruiser squadron. Crush them. End this." "Malfunctioning junk," a general barked. "Send a cruiser squadron. Crush them. End this before their message even reaches their colonies." Murmurs of approval rippled through the chamber. But one junior strategist, scales a pale gray of youth, spoke softly. "Marshal, why only 1 ship? What commander sends a lone vessel against an empire's armada? Either they are desperate or they know something we do not." The room stilled for a heartbeat. Carthune's tusks twitched. "Do you question our supremacy, strategist?" The youth bowed his head. "Never, Marshal. But caution is for the weak." Carthune's voice cut sharp. He rose, towering above them, his ornate battle crest flang with pride. "1 ship or 1,000, it matters not. We will crush their defiance. And when their ashes drift in the void, all species will know the Dominion fears no upstart race." The generals roared their approval. Yet as the chamber dimmed, more than one officer caught the marshal's eyes and thought, "Why indeed only 1 ship?" Far from the Dominion's halls of stone and fire, the UNS Resolute slid silently through the Vega expanse. Its matte black hull absorbed starlight, rendering it a shadow against the void, where Dominion warships bristled with weapons like armored beasts. The Resolute seemed leaner, more deliberate, a predator conserving energy before the strike. On its bridge, Commander Elias Vance stood before the main viewport, hands clasped behind his back. At 39, his face carried the quiet weight of a man who had studied too many battles and survived enough of them to know luck was never enough. His uniform bore no ornaments, no wasted decoration. He carried authority, not through display but through the steadiness of his presence. The tactical officer, Lieutenant Mara Leto, leaned against her console. 400 ships out there, sir. Dominion doesn't do subtle." "They don't need to," Vance replied. His voice was calm, level, as if he were commenting on the weather. "When you believe you can't lose, you stop thinking about how to win." From the engineering pit, Chief Ramos gave a nervous chuckle. "Forgive me, Commander, but we're still just 1 ship. That math doesn't improve even if they get careless." Vance turned slightly, a faint trace of a smiley his lips. "You sound like they do, Chief." "Difference is," Ramos muttered, "they have 400 reasons to be arrogant." Before Vance could reply, the comms officer raised a hand. "Incoming transmission from the Dominion flagship." The main viewport flickered, replacing starlight with the looming visage of High Marshal Carthune. His tusks gleamed, eyes bright with contempt. Behind him, Dominion banners swayed like flames. "Human." Carthune's voice thundered, "Your insolence offends the stars themselves. Do you come here to beg for mercy with 1 pitiful vessel, or do you wish to amuse us with your courage before you die?" Vance studied him for a long, steady moment. Around the bridge, his crew tensed, waiting. Then he answered, voice low and even, "If it amuses you, Marshal, then consider yourself entertained. We're here. That's enough." Carthune snarled, tusks clicking. "You mock us?" "No." Vance's gaze did not waver. "I remind you, you called us weak before you ever faced us. Let's see if your fleet fights as well as it laughs." The transmission cut, leaving the bridge in silence. The crew exchanged glances, nervous, unsettled, but steadied by their commander's composure. Leto broke the quiet. "That'll rattle him at least." "Good," Vance said. "An enemy rattled is an enemy predictable." Ramos shook his head. "Sir, I'd be a lot happier if we rattled them with 300 ships of our own. Vance turned back to the viewport, where distant glimmers marked the Dominion fleet assembling. We don't win by matching them ship for ship. Chief, we win by making them believe the impossible. The word settled over the crew like a quiet cath. Hours later, Dominion cruisers shifted formation, engines flaring. Sensors lit with the telltale pattern of a vanguard detachment preparing to advance. Leto's fingers danced over her console. Looks like they're sending a taste test. 24 ships, maybe 30, guess they want to laugh a little before dinner. Ramos muttered. Dinner's supposed to eat back, right? Ready weapons, Vance ordered. His voice carried no urgency, only precision. We'll give them a reply they won't forget. The Resolute angled into position, its black hull catching no starlight. As if it had grown from the void itself, Vance's eyes remained fixed on the advancing icons on the tactical screen. 30 warships against 1. On paper, there was no contest. But wars are not fought on paper. And as the Dominion vanguard closed in, unaware of the Predator's patience, Vance's steady voice cut the silence. Target locks confirmed. Hold fire until they commit. His crew obeyed, tension crackling in the stillness. Outside, the void darkened, waiting. The first clash of empires was about to begin. The Dominion vanguard advanced in flawless formation, 30 ships slicing through the void like blades. Each cruiser carried more guns than the Resolute had compartments, their hulls bristling with missile tubes and plasma arrays. To the Carthid, it was not a battle. It was a ceremonial execution. On the bridge of the human warship, silence reigned except for the low hum of the systems. The tactical displays glowed cold blue against the crew's tense faces. Lieutenant Mara Leto broke the stillness. Weapons range in 3 minutes. They're spreading out to box us in. Commander Elias Vance didn't move from his place at the viewport. His voice, even and steady, carried across the bridge. Let them close. The further they stretch, the easier it is to cut them apart. Chief Ramos, hunched over the engineering console, muttered under his breath. Cut them apart, he says. Like we're trimming hedges, not facing 30 warships. Leto smirked, but her eyes never left the screen. You heard the man. Get the hedge trimmers ready. The Dominion formation tightened, their from line peeling forward. On the Carthid flagship, High Marshal Karathun watched through a hololithic feed, his generals eager for the kill. Bring me their wreckage, he snarled. Let the galaxy see how easily humans break. The first volley erupted in blinding arcs of plasma, spears of light streaking across the void. Sensors screamed as the Dominion barrage converged on the lone human ship. Evasive, Vance ordered. The Resolute responded with impossible grace, sliding sideways in a burst of acceleration that made inertial dampeners groan. The plasma bolts ripped past, tearing empty space. Ramos gritted his teeth. No ship this size should move like that. I swear she's bending her own rules. Focus, Vance said. Target their lead cruiser. Mark firing solutions. Locked, Leto replied. Vance's hand closed around the armrest. The Resolute unleashed its answer. Not the broadside. Spray of conventional fleets, but a concentrated lance of gravity-shearing energy. Space twisted around the beam, ripping into the Dominion cruiser's hull. Armor peeled back like foil, and in a flash, the warship split in two, torn apart by forces it was never built to withstand. The bridge of the Resolute remained still, save for the quiet confirmation of hits. Another cruiser followed, its engines imploding under the invisible crush of warped space. Leto's voice cut through. 2 down, 28 to go. On the Dominion flagship, silence crushed the council chamber. Carthun's tusks ground together as he stared at the impossible. One ship had erased 2 of his in seconds. Continue the assault, he barked. Overwhelm them. They cannot hold. But the more his ships pressed, the more the Resolute danced. It rolled under barrages, cut through firing lines, and struck with surgical precision. Each human shot destroyed, each alien volley scattered into emptiness. Inside the Resolute, tension climbed despite kills. Sweat beaded across Ramos's brow as the ship's systems strained under constant evasive maneuvers. We can't keep dodging like this forever. Every burn stresses the drive. Vance's reply was calm but sharp. We won't have to. Sir, we don't win by surviving longer, Vance said. We win by breaking their will. Another cruiser disintegrated under human fire. The tactical screen thinned, the vanguard collapsing from a spearhead into ragged clusters. Dominion comms filled with static, fractured orders bleeding into one another. Leto caught the chaos with a tight grin. "They're stumbling, sir. Confused and angry?" "Good," Vance said. "Confused enemies make mistakes." On the Dominion flagship, Carthoon's generals argued in disbelief. "Marshal, these weapons our shields cannot withstand them. It is witchcraft, no strategy. They baited us." Carthoon silenced them with a roar. His claws gouged the arm of his command throne. "Enough, they bleed like any race. One ship cannot stand against 400. Press the attack. Drown them." Yet his eyes betrayed the first flicker of unease. The final stage of the Vanguard clash unfolded quickly. The Resolute cut through 3 more ships, then wheeled to face the survivors. The Dominion formation broke, some vessels retreating toward the main fleet. Vance gave no order to pursue. Instead, he let them go. His crew exchanged questioning looks. "They'll report what they saw," Vance explained. "And the Marshal will send everything he has to prove us wrong. That's when this war truly begins." Leto leaned back in her chair, exhaling slow. "We just dismantled 30 warships, sir. With 1 ship. How many more times can we pull that off?" Vance turned his gaze toward the dark stars. "Once more than they expect. That's all we fire across the Gulf." Carthoon stared at the shattered remains of his vanguard. Around him, his generals whispered like carnon birds circling a wounded beast. "Marshal, what if—" "Silence!" His voice rumbled, more growl than word. He straightened, forcing his shoulders high, pride masking the tight coil in his chest. This was nothing but a trick. They cannot repeat it. We will unleash the full armada, and when the void burns with their ashes, the galaxy will foe.